Welcome to Fixate Today Book Club, where we obsess about books and want to share our fixations with you. Check out our podcast, Fixate Today Gone Tomorrow, and for more content, browse through the rest of our channel, Fixate Today Gray Matters. Just a reminder, our next book is going to be While Idaho Slept, The Hunt for Answers in the Murders of 4 College Students by J. Reuben Appelman. We would love for you to read along with us.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We are on part 2 of Shari Franke's book, The House of My Mother. We wrapped up part 1. It ended with, sorry, I'm looking at my notes in my book. Ended with Shari kind of feeling like she was going to need to learn how to survive and thrive in the world she's in. Nothing about her world's going to change. She's going to have to adapt to it.
So in part 1, we talked about Ruby and Kevin's kind of background and courtship and starting their family. And then we start seeing that Ruby had the tendency toward the extreme control, borderline abuse. Yes. And that had always been in her even before she started her channel, the 8 Passengers. So, yeah. So part 2, jump into the origins now of 8 Passengers and how it got started.
Yeah. So in my nerd way, I looked up to see if the name of part 2 had anything to do with anything like I did for part 1. And it is another painting by, I always forget how to say it, Hieronymus Bosch. And so the title of this part is Ship of Fools. And we talked a little bit about the triptych style of paintings last time, that it's like the panels. This is another part of a different triptych. And this triptych is on the 7 deadly sins. And this panel specifically, Ship of Fools, is about gluttony. But on the other end of another part of the painting that it's connected to is about stinginess. So it's like kind of the dangers of both extremes. But I'm pretty sure with this we can understand that it's probably the gluttonous side.
Yes. Yes.
Chapter 8 is called A Star is Born. I'm just going to read the first paragraph so we can kind of jump into things. Yeah. Ruby's life was about to pivot. She had approached motherhood with the intensity of an Olympic athlete training for gold, her identity singularly focused on procreation for more than a decade. But now, aged 30, with her 6th and last baby weaned, the Franke family was finally complete, leaving her with a strange mix of accomplishment and unease, questioning what came next. She needed a fresh outlet for her energy and ambition. Ruby's sisters, Ellie and Bonnie, were already finding success on YouTube as content creators.
After spending so much time, I mean, your life revolves around the kids. Who you are revolves around the kids. And so I can see how at this point you do need a different focus.
And I feel like it's every stage of your kids' lives too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because she's still in it. The last baby weaned means she still has a toddler. Like, she still has a baby and a toddler. But every stage of motherhood, I feel like you have to kind of figure yourself out again.
Yeah.
And so I'm reading this thinking of her like I am now, that my kids are kind of older and I have more time for the things for myself. And she's like, this baby's weaned. I got plenty of time for you to them now.
You're in they're independent for the most part. I'm in the empty nest. So my kids are on their own. And so I do think it's interesting for her that you need to find something. I think you need to find something to fill in that emptiness, or fill in that pattern of your life. And so, like, for me, it's doing this. I mean,
yeah, same. I mean,
why we started it.
Yeah, this has really been a really good outlet for creativity I didn't really know I needed.
Right. And stimulating our brain and then something to focus on. So I can see that. And I think the key here is that Ruby's sisters actually started this. I think Ruby, as the oldest, and I don't know, she just seems like she's got her life fully pulled together, that she thought, oh, if they can do it, I could do it. And maybe even I could do it a little bit better. in her mind.
Yeah. Well, there is, I can't remember where it is. It's in this chapter, but, it's a bit later when she's talking about, her sister's doing this. And she's like, well, I have the most kids. Of course, I'll do
Yeah.
it the best.
But I feel in her mind, the most kids, and I don't know. I think she feels superiority in
Oh, yeah.
more than one way.
Oh, yeah. It's like she can handle the most kids. So it's like each kid will make the vlog bigger or make the channel bigger,
Yeah, and bring attention on how good of a mother she is, how perfect of a world that she lives in. So,
Yep.
um,
So we have 8 passengers launching in 2015.
it wasn't immediately a huge hit.
No.
Did a little better than ours from the start.
So we're hanging in there. We're
We
not
are.
exploiting anyone.
I liked there's a line in there that said, Ruby Franke was not just a mother, but a matriarch worthy of widespread admiration and emulation. And then
And not just that, this just occurred to me, but that her role should be admired, but emulated. Like she knows how to be a parent better than anybody else. And people should be listening to her. And she's doing the world a disservice not being public with how to be a mother.
And I think there are people that find by people not doing the same things or not emulating you that they're actually like going against you or
yeah, or even like you're wrong if they don't follow your path. That
taking offense to it.
yeah. Everybody knows I have a weird soft spot for Kevin, but I also am furious at him all the time. It's a weird thing, but I think it was sweet that he was the first subscriber. This is Kevin, ever supported, claimed the honor of being the first subscriber. Ruby was the second. And I, about to turn 12 and caught up in the excitement of this new family venture, eagerly claimed the third spot. We've talked about a lot on the podcast and in part 1 of this, as we're talking through everything that happened with Ruby Franke, how influential the LDS Church really is. And it was early 2010s, maybe even a bit late aughts, that the LDS Church was really pushing for your personal familial testimonies to go digital so it could reach a wider audience. So in large part, so many LDS families even today do this because the LDS Church tells them to.
Had incredible foresight
Yeah.
By the LDS Church. It was a perfect match for them. And I do believe that they have been able to get through to a lot of families. And
and the one part of me, the optimistic side, says it is, the LDS Church is heavy into documenting your own family and your journals. And it's because, anyone could end up being the prophet. Any normal guy in the street could end up being a prophet. You want his or her journals well kept so they can be historical documents. The other side is they're just trying to get more members to get the money from the members. So LDS Church, they're pretty smart sometimes.
Yeah, and they've always been focused, like the genealogical records. That's always been a big part of their tradition and maintaining those. And I think at one point, I mean, Ruby even points out that will work as somewhat of a, I guess, scrapbook for her kids in the future to be able to look back on. So.
Which really is like my kids were all over Facebook, and it was kind of for that same reason. It was like, I have this like huge digital record. I'm now slowly deleting things and saving them and trying to figure out what to do with everything so they're not all over there. But that was a huge part of why millennials, I think, especially started posting everything of their lives. We just were like, this is how you journal now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes when we do that, we curate it. We forget. Maybe when we look back, we'll kind of forget a little bit the hard times. Because when you look back and you use your pictures as your guide, we often you don't take pictures of our.
You don't take pictures of the stuff that you don't want people to see.
No. All right. So chapter 9, baby climbs out of the crib.
I actually don't remember the exact moment when the cameras first started rolling. All I know is one day we were just a regular family going about our lives, and the next there was a janky camera constantly pointed in our direction, documenting our every move for the consumption of strangers on the internet. So the first video that Ruby posted was January 8th, 2025. It was actually footage from 2 years prior of the gender reveal of their sixth and final child.
Okay.
They're around the kitchen table. And I should note, like, it's just like a family home. It's nothing grandiose. It's just like a lived in, things need updating, but you just live your lives type of family home, much like mine.
At the beginning.
So in that first video, I don't think at the time they talk about it being in the past, but the video, like the scene shifts to Ruby holding the baby. Okay, yeah. Then it says the video then cuts to my youngest sister, now a toddler. So it seems like that first video is kind of like a clip show of where they are to get them to where they are now, is what I'm guessing.
She's pretty good. I mean, I'll give her that. That's, I mean, right from the beginning, she's pretty talented at putting together these videos.
Well, and knowing what people want, that baby content is always, you know, when people are looking for wholesome content, they're looking for creators and their children a lot of the time. And she, like, that first focus was the baby.
Yeah.
She knew what she was doing. So that first video was all baby, all kids. The second video was just Ruby and Kevin out with some of his work colleagues, I think, and it was her trying sushi. Shari writes, picture this, Ruby out with Kevin's academic buddies, bravely facing down her first plate of sushi. Spoiler alert, she's not a fan. The end. I think seeing, not even the reception, because they weren't that big, but how interesting, the interest levels of those two videos, she was like, all right, we lean into the kids.
Well, and how awkward for his colleagues, co-workers. Can you imagine?
I want to know, like, were their faces on? Were they? A few days later, video number 3, she started introducing the 8 passengers and started with Chad. Chad was only 10 at the time, but little by little, she introduced the growing audience, the kids, and figured out where the money would come from.
Yep. And quite early on, Chad was a favorite.
But I do think it's interesting that she started with Chad and not Shari, not the oldest. Like, she already knew he was a cutie patootie. And
well, I mean, maybe Shari doesn't say this, but maybe she pushed back more a little bit at that time. I mean, she was 12. Good Lord, you'd feel awkward and kind of be a little bit, understand what was going on a little bit more, and be aware of your peers seeing your life. So maybe she pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, or just was maybe not even as much pushing back as more hesitant, because she was more shy, and maybe like the more gregarious kid was like, I'll do it first.
Yeah. Because I think, we start learning about Chad being a prankster and a clown. And yes, I mean, Shari early on just says she was much more introverted and in her words, more awkward.
So already at 12 years old when this started, Shari almost immediately missed her privacy.
I was beginning to feel like a sideshow freak. Step right up and witness Shari, the amazingly awkward adolescent, in all her cringe-worthy glory. Oh.
Right after the worst part, the internet ate it up. Everyone seemed to love what Ruby was posting, which, of course, encouraged her to post more. I have a 14 and a 13-year-old, and I don't know. I just, as I'm rereading this, I'm just trying to think through of like, if like I was this parent and we did a family vlog and a kid said no, I'd be like, I would do everything I could to not.
To respect that.
Yeah, to respect that, not post them. And it just blows, I don't know.
I mean, at what age would a child say no? I think it wouldn't be until they were probably in about that 12-year-old range.
Yeah.
I mean, I think younger than that, you don't even fully grasp what's going on, or you don't think about the fact that people are viewing you and seeing you.
Yeah. That is, all 3 of my kids have at one time or another said we should start a family vlog. And it was always like, no, absolutely not. But And then there came a point for my two oldest, my youngest hasn't said it yet, that they said, can you stop posting me on Facebook and Instagram? I was like, yeah, absolutely. But and it was like those ages. Yeah. It was like 8 to 10. All three of them were like, we should be on YouTube. And then it was like 12 to now. It was like, can you like ask before you post me, or can you not post me at all? Or, and right in line with that.
Nothing worse than, my husband will take pictures and post them, and I'm like, I look terrible in that. Don't put that up. So, and this one, one of the videos was about Shari's piano recital. And she says, the first but not the last time, Rudy would take one of my most awkward moments and turn it into the story of the week.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine the pressure or the embarrassment that would go with that.
Because we know already she didn't love piano. And so now on top of it, millions of people are going to be watching it. Or not millions at this point, but still.
We see it's becoming more dehumanizing, where she's more of a character. The kids are slowly becoming more characters in their
right
in their own home.
Yeah. So. Yeah, exactly. So Ruby got super hyper focused and treated YouTube as a business immediately. And within, I think it was less than 6 months, they hit that 1,000 subscriber mark that you can start monetizing content.
And I do think that they could use the money at this point. They were not poor by any means, but it didn't seem like they had a whole lot of extra spending money. And there's a draw to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's 6 kids. Only one parent works outside the home. Only one parent's bringing in an income at this point. And yeah, you just live your life, right? You just live your life and record it. And then you put it on the internet and you get money.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially at the beginning, right?
So after they hit their 1,000 subscribers, their first viral video is posted. Of course, we didn't know it was viral at the point, but when they posted it, it went viral. And Ruby is thrilled. She's like dancing around with the toddler, celebrating. And said it was the video of the baby climbing out of her crib, and it went viral, 50,000 views and counting. And Ruby's like confused. She's like, that's a lot of people. Why are they watching us? She kind of realized that meant things were going to change. And it says, as the weeks turned into months, that crib video continued its astonishing ascent, racking up views by the millions, 10 millions, 20 millions. And by the year's end, an unfathomable 50 million strangers had glimpsed into our lives. With that comes subscribers increasing pretty quickly. And she says, unfathomable reach from Louisiana to Laos, Kentucky to Kenya. It was surreal.
Which I imagine, I imagine that would have been. And overnight, your life would change. Side point on her child climbing out of the crib. Did she get that on camera?
That's my question, too. Or did she, did it, I imagine it happened, and then she was like, do it again! Yeah. So she says that, watching the subscriber numbers go up, she's like, why do people care about these things? But okay.
Are you saying Shari was?
Shari, yeah.
Okay, not Ruby was,
no.
I assume, relishing it.
Oh, yeah. And Shari even thought, surely this will end soon. Why are people watching us? And that's when normal ended for the Franke family. All right, so on to chapter 10, called Remodeling Reality.
Yeah, this is where the channel really started encompassing and changing their actual lives on a regular basis.
She opens the chapter with, as our YouTube channel evolved, so did our home. Ruby invested heavily in remodeling, every change designed to please the camera's eye. Goodbye, ugly yellow walls. Hello, stark white and board batten. Sterile, but oh so photogenic. Ruby meticulously curated the porch, adding stylish patio furniture, plump pillows, and atmospheric lanterns. We even removed the house numbers to avoid the hassle of having to blur them in the videos. The result was a picturesque facade, perfect for the camera, but perhaps a bit too perfect for real life. A visible symbol of our transition from an ordinary family to YouTube stars.
So we go on, and I find this really interesting because we see also a change in Ruby and or maybe her parenting, and the kids figure out how to exploit it a bit. So thankfully, I found a silver lining in this heinous new situation: leverage. I figured out that if I wanted something from Ruby, a later bedtime, a new outfit, permission to hang out with friends, my best bet were to ask her while the cameras were rolling.
Ruby wanted me as her happy, smiling co star. It was going to cost her a trip to the mall, a get out of chores free card, a shiny new gadget, whatever I needed at the time.
I'm so glad that she got something out of it.
I know. And hopefully they all did. And they all figured it out.
But again, it's changing your relationship. It's
yeah.
making you more of an employee of your own parent.
And everything comes at a cost also.
Yeah.
It's like I want a new outfit, so I'll do this video, and it's almost like selling your soul to your mother.
But I mean, you can see how a kid would, like, even just a child of divorced parents playing one off the other.
Yeah.
Then they start getting into brand deals.
Yeah.
Again, another change. Their first brand deal was with a slow cooker company.
You know, I at least feel like if we ever got to the point that somebody wanted to do a brand deal with us, it's not going to be like wet wipes or like laundry detergent. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. I'm so glad we don't have like a mommy channel that we're like, these diapers are the best.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was at this point, but they start getting like even trips and such paid for them. Maybe not right at the beginning. Maybe this was just still where there was.
It's pretty soon. Like at least not like beyond brand deals. They started getting gifts, and then that's when the trips started rolling in.
I don't know because we've made a total of $30 in ever doing this, but I do know that you make your YouTube money, but then the brand deals, I do think that is quite a bit of a bump when you get to that point. So
yeah, I think that's the big. What was the docu-series I just watched about the Stoffers who adopted a little boy and then quote rehomed him? An update on our family.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. The series is called An Update on Our Family, and it was this family vlog who did this adoption journey thing and got everybody invested, and then he was too difficult. It's
oh my gosh.
But one of the things they say in the videos they are making is like, we've lost brand deals, and it's so that was, I think that's like the biggest chunk of income that people can make is getting these brand deals. And it's so beneficial for the companies because they don't have to like hire, an actor. They just, they play considerably less to an influencer.
So we see the start of like the change in family dynamic though. So Kevin, Shari's father, has always been the breadwinner. And I think she says, I thought about Dad, who'd always been the intellectual powerhouse of our family, dedicating his brilliant mind to understanding earthquakes and making the world a safer place. Yet it was Mom's newfound obsession with the internet that was finally bringing us true financial income.
I feel like in this, in the religious sense of their community, that's probably difficult.
Oh,
when
sure.
the man's supposed to be the head of the household and working enough to make it possible for the wife to generally stay home with the kids. Yeah. And then all of a sudden she's got a lot more power than he does.
And especially since that was the power dynamic, she has always had the more dominant personality. But that was his, I would assume that it was his strength, and he, took solace in the fact that yes, he was head of the family in that way.
Right. Right. This is his domain.
Well, we go back and forth on our opinions on Kevin. But yeah, you do feel for that change in dynamic here. And the fact that Shari is so observant of it, and definitely seems to have a softness in her heart for
Yeah.
her father, a closeness.
Yeah. And I think she probably very likely grew up kind of in a similar way I did. Not this, but I would internalize the feelings of everybody in the house and was hyper aware of shifting dynamics like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is definitely something I can see, even if she's only 12, being able to pick up on, because I could do that.
Feeling worry and sorrow for
Mhm.
other people. I mean,
It was more for me, it was anxiety when anything shifted,
okay,
because that would mean
like
negative feelings are going to happen. And
for those people or
right, for the
the family.
people.
Okay.
And I guess it is like the sadness of, you know, she understands without him having to say it that he is uncomfortable at the least with this shift. And for me, I took that on. I think maybe, I don't know. Maybe she did feel like she took on that burden of other people's emotions, because she certainly did for Ruby, but it was more like managing her own emotions to manage her mother's.
Yeah. No, I have a child whose empathy is almost so overwhelming that it brings on significant anxiety in relation to how he thinks we will feel. Like, I feel sorry for you if so and so happens. It's a lot of energy
It makes
expenditure.
perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Like what you just, how he, yeah, that is how I also feel.
Yep. And it seems to be how Shari feels a lot.
It is very tiring.
So. Yeah, it's true.
I'm in therapy, everybody. It's fine.
You're getting fixed.
Okay, so a few months later, you know, they're established in the YouTube world. On October 15th, 2015, Pregnancy and Infant Lost Remembrance Day, Ruby made a solo video discussing her miscarriage. And Shari says she has complicated feelings. She said it's like a powerful video, didn't go viral. On the one hand, she was happy that her mother was able to share this story, but on the other end is like, she's always questioning the exploitation level of everything, I think. But it's like, you're making a lot of money off of, she even says, like, exploiting the unborn baby.
Yeah. That reminds me a little bit of Meghan Markle when she did the piece, I don't know, for the New York Times or one of the large newspapers about her miscarriage and struggle with it. And I think the reaction to it was mixed. You know, yes, I feel bad for you, but is this the right platform to, or is it something you don't necessarily have to be sharing with? Yes, Ruby's drive was bringing in money for her family and validation for her ego, but none of those superficial rewards could fix what was broken inside of her. Instead, it seemed to fuel a vicious cycle, pushing her to seek more validation, more views, more content, and often at the expense of the family. So she can never get enough.
And the validation that she got didn't fix what was broken.
And it never will. You know, it's insatiable.
Yeah.
So it just fuels it more and more.
And there is something to say about, and this is even before we started like making content. If I posted something funny on Facebook and people like did the laugh emoji, there is like almost like a dopamine rush of like, oh, somebody thinks I'm funny. Like I get that even at that small level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it takes a lot of discernment to be able to understand that that's very superficial.
Yeah.
That's not going to fix anything. So on to chapter 11, Teenage Influencer.
This is where we start seeing Shari stepping up and realizing, hey, if my mom can do this, so can I.
Yeah, the way you say it, it's like similar to how Ruby approached it with her sisters. But for Shari, I think she was smart enough to know, like, It's not about beating my mom. It's about setting myself up
Yes, I
to
agree.
get out, which is so smart.
Yeah, no, it was foresight for her.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking advantage of the situation, but seeing the opportunity.
Well, it's just like, I need to know outfit. I'll do this video.
Yep.
We already have this established thing in our home that we record everything. I'm going to make myself my own money.
Yep.
Toward the end of 8th grade, when I was 14, I started my own YouTube channel for one reason: money. I saw what YouTube had done for Ruby. If this could pay for college and save me from working at the grocery store after school, I was all in. Although I'd have to get Ruby's permission first, of course. That's where it becomes difficult.
Yeah, that's where there's some tension.
And I don't even know, like, Ruby's always searching for admiration. And it has to, I think she said yes because she's like, she wants to be like me.
Right.
She's following what I'm doing. But it comes with stipulations.
Right. And do you think there's part of it that she's concerned about her being more successful? Actually, I don't think at this point.
I don't think at this point. I don't think she could. I don't think Ruby believed enough in what Shari was going to do.
I agree.
To ever match her.
Yeah.
And I also think if Shari's channel was more successful than Ruby's sister's channels, it's really sticking it to them too.
But Ruby wasn't gonna give Shari an easy way out on this.
Ruby would have to manage Shari's AdSense, which is the platform of paying creators, which is actually true. YouTube can't pay anybody if they're under 18. So the parents do handle that.
Yeah, I mean, I see that as that doesn't seem out of the ordinary.
Not out of the ordinary. I think now that a lot of like this age of family vlog kids are growing up and they're like, we didn't ever get paid. And I think now they're stepping in, and I know in California just did a law that it's like the Coogan law that child stars parents have to put aside a certain amount of money that's actually the child star.
Yeah. I mean, that is interesting. And I've always wondered exactly how that works. That is an interesting.
Yeah, it was like the Wild West. But it was just like when there were black and white silent movie child stars. And I forget his first name, but last name is Coogan. He ended up playing Uncle Fester on the Addams Family TV show when he was an adult. But his parents took every cent. Like he was a huge child star and had made an obscene amount of money for that time. And he became an adult and was like, okay, I'm ready to go out on my own. And he had nothing.
Because I don't think that Ruby was thinking a lot about putting aside money for the kids, especially at this point. So I do think it is very smart of Shari. So, but Shari was kind of thinking, okay, a little shout out for my mom will be very helpful, which is true. And Ruby came back, no way, Shari. No shortcuts, no shout outs. You will need to get to 100,000 subscribers on your own, just like I did. And then I'll give you a shout out on 8 passengers. I don't really understand this. I mean, I understand to some extent pushing her to be successful on her own, but kind of surprises me.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, the whole like debate about Nepo babies in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And my thought was always like, you know what? There is an unfair advantage if one actor is just like trying to make it on their own and the other actor is somebody's famous daughter. I mean, it's also the other part of it is use that when you can. Like, yeah, my dad is this person. It's going to open doors for me. They still have to get the job themselves, but like, I don't know.
If they have the talent, and now it's one thing, I suppose, if it opens the door and they don't have the talent to carry through. But if they do, I mean, I hate to say it, but nepotism's everywhere.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am with it. I also would want to, I don't know, we always say like what we would do. We're like, we're not Ruby Franke. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me, because I'd be like, I want to give my kids every advantage. Mm-hmm. I want them to be hard workers, but if I have the means to give them some sort of advantage, I want to do that. I don't want my kids' life to be harder.
Yeah. And so I do find that very, very strange. And I could see how it'd be somewhat hurtful to Shari.
Yeah. And I wonder if maybe that was even a way of discouraging her from it. If maybe she thought she wouldn't do it, and then it says challenge accepted, Mom.
Right. Anyone who says posting online isn't real work clearly hasn't done it themselves.
Yeah. I don't do, let's be transparent here. I don't do any of the video editing stuff. That's all Joy. My research part is so much easier than your job.
Oh, I don't know that. But I mean, we're lucky because we can break it up into, I think, what we're a little bit better at. But no, it's hard. I love that she points it out because it is more difficult than I think people realize.
We've earned our $30.
Can't wait. I'm figuring out how to spend it already.
But I can't even imagine, like, she hates this. She says how much she hates this. And it is such hard work, and it has taken such a big part of my life that if I didn't enjoy doing this, I can't imagine doing this knowing how much you hate, just hating doing it, you know?
Which means I think she definitely knew that she needed to set herself up for the future, though. She foresaw that money was going to be held over her head. And I mean, I know people in college, my kids' friends, and it's tough. That's what happens is that's your parents' control over you.
Something she probably had going for her and making it a bit easier is, we're doing really intense things about different deep, hard topics.
Mm-hmm.
She could post a video that's like, which lip gloss should I use? And she doesn't care about it. She doesn't give a rip about it.
Yeah.
She knows it's going to get views.
Yeah.
So she whips out this video. Bam. Yeah. I hope that's what she was doing. Just getting these out, get that money.
And we later see, we'll see a little bit later that her style changes with time, but yeah.
She does say that she, to this day, has guilt for featuring her siblings on her own channel. She said, the guilt eats... I posted twice a week, and like my mom, I exploited my own siblings, doing shaving videos with my sisters and talking about periods because I knew it would get views. The guilt eats at me now, but back then I was just following the blueprint Ruby had laid out. This is what people like. This is what makes money, the personal stuff. One day, Ruby brought her laptop to Shari and showed her a comment. And Ruby was like, this is why we do this. This is the most important thing. This is why we are on this channel. And it was somebody who said that they were going to convert to the LDS church because of the Franke family. And she says, God gave us this platform, and look at the difference we're making in people's lives, showing them the way.
She also says, you guys are so happy and loving and above all honest. And it gives me hope that maybe one day I can have that too.
Ugh.
And that's sad.
Well, and it's gotta feel, we know how deeply important Shari's faith is to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that people are coming to her faith from a facade, from lies. It just, that's a whole other level. That's a whole other layer of this.
I think her goals were, number one, making money, getting recognition for herself as a human being, and then sharing the LDS church. But I don't think those things are I don't think the weight on those things are nearly equally distributed.
No. And I don't believe that her desire to bring people to Mormonism was for them. It was for her. It gives her more clout within the faith, gives her more recognition and better standing. So when Jody comes along, she's a bigger name in the faith already.
Shari is very, very deep in her convictions of her religion and her faith. Almost seems like among the most so in the family.
Yeah, I think so too. She gets some of the kind of religiosity level of things in the book. But we talked a bit about this when we did the series on the podcast, the Hulu series. They did not bring up the LDS church in a negative way, the Franke family. And like the little conversation that there was very surface.
Yeah.
And so I think we talked about this. We think that the Frankes were probably Chad, Kevin, and Shari didn't agree to do it if they were going to blame their faith, is our guess.
And then Shari starts, then she's starting to see the change in people, how they are perceiving her at school.
Hmm. She's a little popular now.
Yeah, and what a change. I turned startled to find one of the cheerleaders waving me from the coveted populars table. She was surrounded by her posse, a sea of perfectly coiffed hair and designer labels. She had never spoken to me before.
Yep.
And do you embrace that? Or does that make you feel uncomfortable? Or is that a little bit of both?
When you're a teenager, you embrace that. She's smart enough to know it probably was a bit disingenuous, but still.
Yeah. She says, now that I was internet famous, I'd become so interesting in their eyes.
Yeah. When nothing has changed, it's their boring life.
Yeah.
She does notice a boy, and the boy notices her back.
And I think he falls in the popular boy.
Yeah.
category.
I do think he liked her, though.
I do too.
I think it was probably started a bit because she was all of a sudden internet famous, but it does seem like it was a sweet little
it does,
romance.
But it created some jealousy amongst the other popular girls.
Well, and he's not LDS, and Shari wasn't allowed to date. And it's the kind of the first time in her life that she kind of was like, well, I don't care. I'm going to.
I'm going to anyways.
Yep.
She hid it from her family, but she did it.
Yep. She started secretly texting him and downloaded Snapchat, which was a huge no-no. I felt like I was getting a peek into a world that had always been just out of reach. A world where I was free to be a regular teenage girl without worrying about Ruby's moods or the family vlogging business.
She's enjoying a normal phase of high school life and having somebody who's showing care about her, paying attention to her, validating her.
So we continue learning about Shari's channel. She was not allowed to post anything unless Ruby approved it first. And she said it was rigorous to get this approval. When Ruby said no to a post, it was usually selfies that other people would over-sexualize.
But you get the idea that it wasn't so much for Shari's good and her concern. It was how it reflected on 8 passengers.
Yeah. It was to preserve the channel, not to protect Shari. Because if it were to protect Shari, they wouldn't be on the internet. Back at school, as you mentioned, the girls are starting to get a little jealous of Shari. I don't think it's just about the boy she's dating. I think it's also the internet fame thing.
Kids at that age, so fickle.
Yeah, they are the worst.
Yes.
Not mine. My kids are the best.
Yeah.
The other kids are the worst.
They're bad. The line between genuine parental concern and brand management was often blurred in our household.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. Oh, so at school, I think it's at school one day, Jake and Shari have their first kiss, and it just seems like very sweet and a little awkward and just a normal first kiss for 8th graders. Yeah.
Can I kiss you, Shari? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Her heart thundered in her chest. This is really happening. I nodded wide-eyed, tilting my face toward his. Elizabeth, you can close your eyes, Jake said gently. Oh, okay. I stammered, feeling my cheeks burn hotter.
Yeah, it's just very, very sweet. But, she's like grinning ear to ear on the walk home, and then she steps through the front door, and Kevin says, your mother and I need to talk to you. And immediately she's like, they know about Jake. I just had my first kiss and my parents know somehow.
But what it was is they had realized she had downloaded Snapchat.
Yep.
Out telling them.
Yes. And Ruby is furious because nobody can disobey. They take away her phone and trade it for an old-fashioned flip phone. But she has her little rebellious I say rebellious streak. It's like the tiniest, adorable little rebellious streak that when her parents weren't in the house, she would sneak her iPhone back out. And she said the risk of that was worth the little taste of freedom to keep texting and Snapchatting with him, with Jake.
Again, she reiterated that no social media unless it was approved by her. And it even went on to say, you could jeopardize everything we've worked for, put our entire livelihood at risk. And then Shari said, no, of course I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to be like a normal kid. And Shari, we're not normal. We're public figures. Every move we make, every word say directly impacts our income. Can you try to wrap your head around that?
Gosh, that is so much pressure.
Yeah.
I feel bad if my kids know I'm like struggling to like, they do this class trip and it's like, we got to save, like we have to put in work to put the money aside for it. And I feel bad them knowing that.
And just the line, can you wrap your head around that? Probably not, nor should she have to at that age.
Right.
No child should have to.
Right. We've always tried to be honest with our kids that like, we are not rich. We are fine. And anytime they whine about like, our old PlayStation 4 is about to die. And anytime they start like, oh, we can't get this, we don't go do this, we don't do this. It's like, we just say, have you ever been hungry? Have you ever not had clothes? Have you always been warm? We're fine. And so it's just like, I don't care how, like, there are weeks that I've had to budget groceries down to the penny, and my kids don't need to know that.
Yeah. We've always been very open with our kids about finances, but never have they realize there's no pressure on them other than maybe you guys need to watch your spending a little bit more, which I think is fair and normal.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for the second part of our book club. If you like it, let us know. If you have ideas for books you'd like us to talk about, let us know. We're going to try to keep it in like kind of the wheelhouse of our content. But sometimes not. Sometimes if you guys suggest something and we're both into it, we'll take a look at it.
Thank you for listening. Please comment, like, and subscribe. You can also check out our podcast, Fixate Today, Gone Tomorrow, for more content. Have anything you'd like us to fixate on? Reach out and let us know. Thanks for joining us. Disclaimer: we are not investigators, journalists, detectives, law enforcement, or historians. We are two neurodivergent ladies who just hyperfixate. Please do not take our opinions and ideas as statements of fact. All allegations are just that. We are not accusing anyone of anything, simply offering our interpretation of what we've researched.